The Bitcoin kidnap boy has been found. It's not clear if a ransom in Bitcoin was paid or if police are close to arresting any suspects. SA Express grounded over safety concerns, and the Public Enterprises Minister confirms a new board for the Airlink state-owned company. And Arsenal back their new manager, Unai Emery, to turn things around ahead of the new English Premier League season. This is eNews at 8. I'm Sally Burdett. A good evening. Well, Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan is forging ahead with cleaning up state-owned enterprises. After 86 days in office, he's made changes to the boards of several parastatals and revealed that Gupta-linked Trillion has profited around 70 million rand a month from dodgy deals with bankrupt SA Express. Now, Gordhan previously estimated that the looting of SOEs may have cost the country as much as 100 billion rand. Annika Larsen has the details.
Minister Pravin Gordhan says state capture wasn't just about stealing, but also about changing boards and removing competent and decent managers. Now it's time to fix the rot, stabilise the state-owned companies and look forward. He has announced the permanent positions of CEOs and directors of boards, such as Phakamani Radebe as the new permanent Eskom CEO, but he also wants forensic investigations into current and former staff who may be guilty of theft and malfeasance, for those forensic investigations to be transparent and open, and for the information to be forwarded to the Hawks. He also dropped this bombshell 4 days ago. A deep dive investigation into the goings-on at SA Express, which has just been grounded, found that it paid consulting firm Trillion 5.7 million rand without following proper procurement processes, as well as a dodgy fuel deal of 67 million rand a month.
Our intervention team has found proof of payment to Trillion for 5.7 million rands. Of advisory services and capital raising fees. No due process was gone through to hire Trillion, and it appears that no capital was ever raised.
Gordhan says it seems the focus of some SA Express directors was not how to run an airline, but rather how to extract and steal. Annika Larsen, Parliament.
Well, concerns about corruption are just one of the problems facing SA Express. Today, the South African Civil Aviation Authority grounded the airline due to safety concerns. An audit at the airline has uncovered severe cases of non-compliance. The authority has also suspended the certificates of 9 of the 21 aircraft being operated by the airline.
When we come in and we look at your safety management system and we feel that there are gaps in between, we cannot trust that your safety management system has got integrity. And for us, that is a number one problem. So it's important that when we look at your system, we get assurance that when, for instance, and I'll make an example with the recent incident, when an aircraft experiences a mechanical fault, it's important that the pilot reports that. The engineers have to look at that, and there must be somewhere in their documentation where they demonstrate to us that that particular technical glitch, for instance, was addressed satisfactorily. If we can't find that, you can imagine, it basically means that we're leaving the airline to its own fate.
For passengers concerned about tickets they may have booked with grounded SA Express, South African Airways says it will assist. Passengers should contact SAA directly. Well, some good news this evening, and police this afternoon confirming that 13-year-old Katlego Marite has been found. He was kidnapped near the family's home in Emalahleni on Sunday. A ransom note was found asking the family to pay 15 Bitcoin for his safe return. Now that's about 1.5 million rand. We cross now for the latest to Brigadier Leonard Tlati. Good evening, Brigadier. Thank you so much for joining us. How is this little boy doing this evening? Is he unharmed?
Good evening, Sally, and also the listeners. Yes, the boy is fine, he has been found, and he's found, and up with him. So,
now, were you able to observe if he was very anxious, very upset, perhaps psychologically distraught in any way?
Well, what we have done for us to be able to determine that, we have taken him to the hospital because your question relates to medical issues, so that they can be able to assist us there. However, what we have seen is that he's very much elated, as well as the parents. They were so happy that there was a reunion with their child.
What a wonderful relief for his parents. Are you able to reveal to us whether a ransom was paid for his safe return or not?
Yeah, I would suggest that this is an operational question. We do not want to tap into that environment because the investigation around the issue of that level is still underway.
I understand and I respect that. Do the police have any indication at this stage of the suspects that you may be seeking? Have you been able to perhaps compile an identikit or anything like that?
I think Katlego was found today, and for that reason, many things are still going to unfold. That's why we're calling for space to say there are many things that we still want to do that relate to our investigation, and we are not at liberty to divulge the steps that we're going to take at all.
Well, we understand. Thank you so much for your time. That was Brigadier Leonard Tlati from the Mpumalanga SAPS giving us the details on the safe return of 13-year-old Katlego Marite this afternoon. He was very happy. His parents, of course, absolutely elated to have him home. An update now on the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. The inquiry has already set up office in Johannesburg and the public is being invited to provide evidence. Commission Chairperson Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo says the first hearings are expected to start in August. Several investigators have been appointed to probe state capture, but their identities will remain anonymous. Also, members of the public who make submissions can do so confidentially. The Commission could take up to 2 years to finish its work. Now, we all know the frustration of spending hours in a queue, but some people applying for social grants say they've had to queue day after day for months at SASSA's office in Alexandra Township in Johannesburg. Our reporter Zikhona Chona visited the offices with hidden cameras to find out if it really is that bad.
This is the queue outside the South African Social Security Agency in Alexandra Township. It's now around 10 o'clock and many have been queuing here from as early as 6 a.m. It doesn't end here. Inside, it's worse. Social grant applicants say staff are too slow. They say everything comes to a standstill during the lunch hour, leaving them to sit around and wait. This woman has been trying to apply for a social grant for her child since February. Pukeng Gwenya says she was retrenched 3 years ago. She's been queuing for her 2 children since last November. She says she keeps being told that her case is being investigated.
And hono ho bata re eme ka ntle akabo 8 o'clock nelo hana re kena ha re kena ho tletse ha hona batho ba kgona ho re thusa.
She explains that she has to keep coming here because her current situation does not allow her to lose hope.
Ho thata because tshwantse jone o kope batho gore ba o thuse ba family and ha o bonolo.
SASSA admits that the situation at the Alexandra office is a problem.
We are putting everything in place to ensure that we deal with these long queues. It becomes a more pleasant environment. That is our offices.
SASSA says it may need more staff at the office to deal with the high volumes. Until then, this reality remains. Zikhona Chona, Alexandra Township in Johannesburg.
After the break, we go to the Northwest Province. The Premier may be out, but the problems of service delivery and potential political fallout are mounting. interviewed you always been by Washington and...
I'm trying to think if we've ever done it on the set. I'm not sure we have. This might be a first, Sal.
It might well be.
It might be. What a moment.
I've got 3 questions we're probably not going to... Forward urgent. To the northwest province in the town of Costa, west of Rustenburg, properties belonging to the mayor of the Rivier local municipality were burned down yesterday by angry residents. Now, many of them claim the ANC mayor is corrupt and should take the blame for poor service delivery. But the mayor herself has a different story. Samkele Masego visited Costa to get both sides.
The mayor of Rivier municipality, Kim Mudupe, stood by as her home and business assets were gutted. And Mudupe says this is no ordinary community protest.
This was a political move. It's a political move that has been there. And people who are after all these things are leaders who led with us in the ANC.
The politically embattled mayor also says she can't dismiss that this may be linked to the former premier, Mahuma Pilo.
I may not personally say he is linked, but this has unfolded immediately after the visit and after the establishment of the LET. Because the LET are the people who are doing this. Majority of the people who are doing this are the election committee of the ANC who are leading this conspiracy.
Not only have her properties gone up in smoke, but also private vehicles and trucks of local businessmen. A former ANC chief whip in council and current community activist, Victor Gare, disagrees with the mayor.
The main thing that has caused here, according to everything and the allegations, is bad service delivery.
The mayor has fled the area but says this has all signs of a political battle within her own organization, the ANC. Medupi also refutes all allegations she may have benefited from corruption, as 3 of her private properties have been targeted. Samkele Masego, Koster, Northwest.
To Cape Town, and another day of protest by fed-up residents of Parkwood Estate. Residents say their intention is not to be violent. All they want is for government to see their dire living conditions and help them. Leanne Jansen reports.
It's a cold and miserable day in Cape Town. Instead of keeping warm, residents of Parkwood Estate continue to protest for decent housing. Ingrid Abers allowed us into her home. It's a sobering sight. She shares this 1-bedroom house with 11 family members, including her elderly mother.
Soos julle kan sien, dis hier wat ek slaap op die saamengloe met vloer met kopese. Ek en my man en my kind. Ons het niks privacy nie, van ons slaap met ons kind toekie. Ek soek maar net 'n bietjie help as julle maar net vir ons huise kan gee of 'n stukkie grond kan gee om iets op te doen vir ons. As sal ons tevrede wees, dan het die protes nie nodig om aan te gaan nie.
She says the Western Cape government has rendered itself useless.
Waar die government, hulle doen niks vir ons nie. Elke slag kom praat hulle kom praat al heel week, maar sy sien nie niks niks wat gedoen aan die saakie.
Less than 300 meters away, Natasha Williams lives in a 1-roomed Wendy house. This is one of 7 such structures on this property.
Alles moet ons hierin doen, mevrou. Ek moet kos maak, ons moet pee hierin, ek moet was met my kinders hierin. Ek kan nie meer so saf vir my nie. Genoeg is genoeg. Ek is nou vol as ek nou.
While the protests continue, there appears to be no end game here. Residents say they'll continue protesting until their pleas are heard. Leanne Jansen, Cape Town.
To international news, and US President Donald Trump will not be meeting with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un after all. The two leaders were expected to meet in Singapore next month in what would have been a historic summit. Our US correspondent Simon Marks, who's in South Africa at the moment, joins me in studio now. Good evening, Simon.
Good
Lovely
evening,
to
Sally.
have you here. Why has Trump cancelled? Has it anything to do with a North Korean vice minister calling Mike Pence a political dummy?
Yes, I mean, I think the lesson here for anybody around the world is if you go after Mike Pence, call him ignorant, call him a political dummy, you don't get to meet the President of the United States. That seems to have been the impulse for President Trump to make this announcement. He made it in a letter that was sent to the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. It is an extraordinary document. I mean, unlike anything I think we've ever seen from one head of state to another. President Trump said, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting. Well, really a long-planned meeting. They'd only had it on the calendar for the last 3 or 4 weeks. But I think it's also reflective of the fact that the White House realised President Trump had got way ahead of himself in setting this meeting up without having a very clear indication of whether the North Koreans were really open to serious talks.
At the same time, we're getting reports that in North Korea they're starting to dismantle certain sites. So it would suggest that they were actually quite open to having a discussion.
Well, that's the extraordinary thing about the timing of this. We should have been talking tonight about the fact that the North Koreans today blew up tunnels at their nuclear test facility in a symbol, they said, of détente with South Korea. As that was happening, being observed by American and other foreign journalists, President Trump suddenly pulled the rug out from underneath these talks. So the timing's astonishing.
How dangerous is this volatile relationship between the two men for the rest of the world?
It's a tinderbox. It always has been a tinderbox. The Korean Peninsula is arguably the most dangerous piece of territory in the world. There was a brief moment of possible détente there. It now looks like it's gone.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's our US correspondent Simon Marks on the cancelled summit between Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Let's recap your top stories. The Bitcoin kidnap boy has been found. It's not clear if a ransom in Bitcoin was paid or if police are close to arresting any suspects.
Good evening, everyone. A cold front over the Western Cape brought fantastic rain to the province during the course of today, and that same front is going to continue moving along the coastline in the next 24 hours, bringing rain to the Eastern Cape overnight, and that rain will spread towards KwaZulu-Natal during the course of Friday. Cooler air pushing in from the ocean will also drop temperatures all across those areas, while in the Lowveld it's going to be a hot and dry Friday. Taking a look at the city forecast, in the Northern Cape it's going to be a cloudy morning for some areas, but that cloud cover will start to thin out as the morning progresses, and by afternoon it will be sunny for most places. Some rain still expected for the southern parts of the Western Cape on Friday, but from Hermanus all the way through to Vredendal it's going to be a partly cloudy and dry day. Crossing over into the Eastern Cape, where thicker cloud drops the temperatures over this province, and along with that we expect some rain, especially for the areas closer to the coast. KwaZulu-Natal will start the day off quite dry, but as it progresses, rain spreads in over the southern and eastern parts, while Ladysmith, Ulundi, Vryheid and Newcastle are all expected to be dry for Friday. Sunshine expected for all of Mpumalanga on Friday afternoon, temperatures rising into the 30s for the Lowveld, and we see a similar pattern for Limpopo, but in this province all areas climb above 25 degrees Celsius. Sunshine dominates the northwest on Friday afternoon, but it is going to be another cold morning for some areas in the south, dropping into the lower single digits, including for Vryburg. For the Free State, we see a contrast in the south, where we have a temperature of 19 degrees for Zastron compared to the northern parts, where Welkom gets to a maximum of 26. And finally, for Gauteng, mostly clear weather expected for your Friday. A chilly morning for Vereniging, dropping down to 3 degrees, but it will be a warm afternoon for all areas. And finally, let's take a look at your weekend weather conditions. On Saturday, rain is in the forecast for parts of KwaZulu-Natal as well as East London, while it's going to be mostly sunny for other parts of the country. And on Sunday, we see a very similar pattern. Light rain possible for Polokwane as well as Bombela, while things will be warming up in the west. That's all from the Weather Centre. Goodbye from me.
And finally, ballet is generally seen as an art form for the young and agile. But an 80-year-old Brazilian man is challenging that stereotype. Helio House started dancing at the age of 75, and he's jetted from strength to strength.
Helio House is refusing to let old age stop him living his dream. He's 80 and spends most of his time in ballet and movement classes. He began his dance journey 5 years ago.
I can do it just like anyone can do it. It's getting out of your comfort zone. You raised your children left. You did what you had to do. Now you have to look at yourself.
His dance teacher says he's living proof that it's never too late to learn new things.
I think that his story serves to show many people that it is important to do a physical activity to feel better.
While some of his classes are private, House is able to keep up with the much younger dancers in the group sessions.
Recapping your top stories, the Bitcoin kidnap boy has been found. Police say his family is relieved to have him back this evening. And SA Express grounded over safety concerns. And that's a wrap of your news at 8. Have a great evening. Good night.